Welcome to another edition of Tournament in a TeaBreak. I'm Ros Satar.
Chris Oddo, bonsoir.
And here's Mert Ertunga.
Wow, we're actually... who is this guy? We are actually a little bit giddy at being joined by Mert, who's one of the most brilliant technical writers I've ever seen, and I'm going to be picking his brains about an idea for a playing style section very soon. However, the three of us have all got together to assess day 7, the end of the first week. Wait, you cry. What do you mean the end of the first week? Surely it's Sunday. But no, we say, because don't forget, we start on a Saturday with a third of the draw, or the third of the first round draw. So whilst it feels to us like we've been here forever, it is only actually 7 days. So we're at the end of the first week, the end of the first of the third round matches. Is that right? Yes, it is right.
We got round of 16, both draws. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So it's exciting to look and see where we've come and see some of these strange names.
Yeah, it's the second and third round.
Bolsova.
Yeah, there's some good stuff.
Is that even how you pronounce it?
Bolsova?
I mean,
I don't know.
ridiculous.
But anyway,
qualifier into the round of 16. 3 teenagers on the WTA side.
We'll get to that in a minute, because of course the biggest news of the day was Sonia Kenin bouncing Serena Williams out in straight sets, no less. It was a match that we expected there would be much feistiness and fist pumpery, and there was. And we expected that maybe the Serena rule would come out at the beginning of the second set after she dropped the first set, and it did. But it wasn't enough this time for a miracle comeback.
It wasn't.
So, yeah, Serena out. I mean, actually, for me, Svitolina was a shock. Pliskova was a shock. This really didn't feel like a shock. The only reason that it's a big talking point is because it is Serena Williams.
Yes, and also one thing to add here too. In a lot of these matches, when these younger players play a legend, they tend to sometimes calm down, or maybe not be as pumped up or yelling "come on" at every opportunity that they can. But in this case, Sofia Kenin just continued the same way she always does. In other words, she didn't change her demeanor. She came out believing that she was going to win. And I agree with Ross. This is not exactly a surprise at the level that Pliskova losses, for example.
Yeah, I would say all true, but I got to admit, I'm silly, and I really thought Serena was going to win this match. It took me about 3-4 games to figure out that, Sofia Kenin has come to play today, and she put forth an amazing performance and so much fire. She had the crowd against her. She basically just ignored that. I think that would have rattled a lot of different players. Maybe every time she went to check a ball mark in that match, she was getting booed. But I mean, it didn't seem to bother her.
Here's the thing. I mean, I've seen it all now. A Parisian crowd cheering for Serena.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, yes.
I think it's because slams like their champions. Wimbledon is very much beloved of their champions. I remember people queuing around the block to see Amelie Mauresmo in the dying embers of her career, when she was bounced out onto, I don't know, court 18 or something. But people will queue for ages just to be able to see a Wimbledon champion.
Yeah, players who've had success for a while become familiar with the crowd.
Correct.
And they come year in, year out, and they see the same player. They learn to appreciate their shots. They want to see it again the next year. I want to see that forehand again, that serve again, and so it goes.
Maybe they also perceived Serena to be the underdog in this match, because she was down a set, she was down a break, and she was in all kinds of trouble. And who doesn't love Serena? And she's embraced the city. She's embraced Roland Garros. She's a 3-time former champion.
Yeah.
And you want to see her be a part of the second week. So in that sense, it's disappointing. But hats off to Kenin.
I'm not immediately shocked that it was a surprise. I mean, she's very match shy right now.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's quite funny because she joked that she might squeeze in a grass tournament. The only grass tournament she's ever played in the lead up to Wimbledon is Eastbourne, once in 1998 and then again in 2011. So maybe we are due an appearance.
But I do believe she's although she said herself, we don't know how serious she is, but she does need match play.
Yeah, she really does.
I'm not sure how much further players can carry this. How much further she can carry this limited play every year and still continue to to have the same success she's had before. So
I certainly don't think she can in Europe. I think she can get away with it to a certain extent in. I think she can get it to a certain extent in the States because she plays more in the States. But as soon as she gets to the US Open, those nerves kick in and she's crippled. So I don't know. I fervently wish she gets 24.
Yes.
But I'm beginning to.
Me too,
I'm beginning to fear.
But at the same time, let's remember that this is on clay, so she may not win as many free points on her first serve that she does on grass and hard. So, now that this is fresh in our mind, we may feel that way. But let's see what happens when we get to Wimbledon and US Open and faster surfaces.
It could just be the perfect warm up for a nice Wimbledon run for her. I mean, we know she's capable. She's a finalist last year, and she wasn't playing as well probably as she is now. But I thought she'd be better sooner. And I'm still a little bit perplexed by it all and worried that what we're gonna.
But perplexed is good word use.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Kenin was by far the better player today. And it's strange to say that and to see that.
No. I mean, she was hilarious in press. She was utterly giddy, giddy as a lamb. She's going to have to come down because Ash Barty is going to be a completely different kettle of fish. But we'll jump to that a little later. Of course, the other news was that world number 1 and top seed Naomi Osaka went out shortly after I got onto Love Sport Radio saying that I was a firm believer and strangely in the Osaka court for a deep run here. So I'm going to have the mick ripped out of me something chronic tomorrow for pinning my hopes on Osaka. But again, she hasn't had an easy ride. She's had to battle her way through, and there was no miracle comeback. And what struck me was that she said, I think actually losing was the best thing for me. This insurmountable winning run that she'd had, the pressure of coming in as a number 1, the pressure of coming in as a top seed, lots of things were weighing on her little shoulders. Yeah. I think she'll be better for it. I think the next time she comes around to do this, she'll be like, right, bring it.
The next time, excuse me, Mert, but the next time she wins 16 straight Grand Slam matches? Because I don't know. That's not an easy next time.
Well, she's probably going to go into Wimbledon, I would say, as the top seed.
Yeah, I think so.
I think it's going to have to take something pretty monumental for her not to be the top seed. Also,
the way she won her first 2 matches, I'm assuming, I'm going to speculate here, but I'm assuming the way she won her first 2 matches drained her mentally quite a bit. She had to battle through. She had to battle coming back into the match. So there's the physical aspect, but with all the pressure that she talked about herself, having put on her shoulders, and then to win her first 2 rounds that way, she might have come out a little bit half tank in the mental department.
Well, she admitted that she'd had a headache for the first couple of matches. She admitted that it had been draining. I mean, for me, she demonstrated a champion's mentality
for sure
for the way that she came out. So I was a bit surprised by this, but Siniakova can spring these kinds of surprises. And as Osaka said herself, she said, you guys understand it because you see it all the time, but there are people that will be kind of, oh my God, what kind of number 1 are you that you lost to some player ranked so far below you? But they have good days too. The difference between a Siniakova and an Osaka is that Osaka has learned to be a lot more consistent. Siniakova still wears her heart on her sleeve. So, it's a tremendous win for her.
Absolutely.
But, it's... At the end of the day, it's on a surface that doesn't lend itself to Osaka's game. Again, I don't see this as much of a shock.
No. Can I make 2 quick points on this one?
Yeah.
1, when was the last time we saw a doubles number 1 beat a singles
number 1
in
saw
a Grand
that.
Slam? And 2, I don't think this is anything about Naomi Osaka as a player or as a player on clay. I think it was all about the pressure she felt and how it just sapped her and was a heavy weight on her shoulders and took her down. That's why she didn't make it through this tournament. And so I think she'll have to, in the future, think about alleviating that type of pressure and playing free. She said she didn't feel free, didn't feel comfortable at all in this tournament. That's why she's out.
Is that also, though, can we really say that was unexpected? She's still very young. She all of a sudden won her first 2 majors in a row,
right?
And at that age, that's a lot to put on her. And let's not be so surprised that she has a letdown here at the end of the day, right?
I mean, nobody has won a 3rd major after winning their first 2.
Never.
So it's not like she's having to live up to somebody that's done it before.
Yes.
And she's very young, and she I found that she's grown from all these experiences, and I will be very interested to see what she's like on grass. The only thing that worries me is that she's kind of got this mentality. She had it in Stuttgart, where it was like, I've never really liked playing here. Stuttgart's different. It's a horribly slick clay indoors. There's none of the sort of the leveling factors like the weather and conditions around to deal with. It's all indoors, and it's like an ice rink. And she's always injured herself, and she's always had that in her mind. Like, whenever I come here, I always hurt myself. I hate Stuttgart because I always hurt myself.
Could she not just skip it?
Well, she could. I mean, it's not a mandatory premiere.
Right.
And then the other thing that she sort of said, she was kind of a bit half-hearted about the grass. So let's see what she's like on the grass. But props to Sienna for that was a decent run, and props also to Simona Halep. They do say that sometimes if you're playing a wounded player, it's actually somewhat harder. And interestingly enough, Halep was like, I knew it was going to be tough. And Tsurenko changed how she played, wanted to shorten the points. That's because she basically had one leg and couldn't move and was all but pivoting on one leg around. So
at the same time, that's also a bad matchup for Tsurenko.
It's a terrible matchup.
So even if Tsurenko didn't want to shorten the points, in fact, they played 7 times and she lost her all 7 times. And in some of those matches, she did not try to play short points. She tried to play longer points. But the patterns that she likes to play, she does not like Simona's down-the-line accelerations. It puts her off. It puts her on her back foot and have to stretch and hit. Her first step forward perhaps is not as explosive. And when Simona hits the short cross courts or angle cross courts to the sideline, singles line, that's a tough ball for Tsurenko. And on top of that, just like you said, not being 100% on her legs definitely compounded the problem.
it was the first time, though, I saw Halep playing like a champion. Well, that's not fair, actually, because she came back. She came back from other rounds and had that champion's mentality. But that's the first time I looked at her and I thought, now I think you've got a bit of confidence in your game. And she admitted to me that she had like a lot of nerves. I think it's beginning to hit her, the enormity of defending your first slam, which is no bad thing.
It's very normal.
I think that's fine. But Halep was looking pretty good.
You think the enormity of her amazing draw has hit her yet? She's got Swiatek next, and the winner of Anisimova and Bolsova after that. And then even the top quarter up there isn't looking too tricky for her. I feel like she's the favorite to make the final.
Yeah. Well, talk to me about Teen Heaven.
Yeah, I'd love to talk to you about Teen Heaven. 3 teenagers in the round of 16 at Roland Garros. Amanda Anisimova, Iga Swiatek, and the other one is Marketa Vondrousova. And my stats tell me here, my statistician is emailing me telling me that it's the first time that we've had 3 or more at Roland Garros since 2008. You know who those 4 were? 4 players. Kvitova, Radwanska, Azarenka, Suarez, Navarro.
Wow.
And the first time we've had 4 teenagers in the round of 16 at a major since the 2009 U.S. Open. Guys, take a look at that. Melanie Oudin was one of the 4. She's out of the game now. Janina Wickmeyer, I remember that run as well. Wozniacki and Kvitova. So, I mean, special times. Good to see the teenagers doing good things. I don't know how far they'll be able to go, but I mean,
I would advise anybody listening to this to try to catch Halep Swiatek. Swiatek is a very, very impressive player. Whether she pulls a huge upset there or whether she loses in a routine match to Halep, doesn't matter. Watch her game. It's one of the most promising
and we're talking
tennis
about
styles that I've seen in a long time.
Really, we're talking about last year's girls singles champion at Wimbledon. And how has she been able to progress so quickly?
Well, I watched most of her matches last year in the juniors, and she's got the type of game that where she doesn't depend on just one A game plan. She can have 2 or 3 A game plans, meaning she can attack. She's got a powerful serve. She can accelerate her forehand. She doesn't have too extreme grips, which limits her variety on her shots. She can drop shots, and this is the full package here. I'm very curious to see where Swiatek is going to be in the next 2 or 3 years.
And didn't you talk to her?
Yeah, we already found out she's very confident. Asked her how she was able to make the transition from juniors to pro so quickly, and she said, "Well, I've always made transitions in my life at levels of junior, and so why shouldn't I do it here?" She didn't say it in a cocky way. She just said, like, matter-of-factly, like, of course. you play tennis, you win. That's what I'm here to do.
I think that's amazing because we make such a big deal out of people coming up from the juniors to the main tour, and she's like, no big deal.
Yeah.
So.
And the other two teenagers, Anisimova, to be honest, I still don't have a great feel for her game, but I know she's quite good at winning matches. She was in the second week at Australia. Am I not mistaken?
I think she was.
And I do know a lot about Vondrousova, and she's a real talent, and that's going to be fun to watch her play.
That's good.
I picked Vondrousova as my dark horse semi-finalist among each other when we were talking with the Tennis with an Accent group that I write for, and Vondrousova was my dark horse final four.
Could be right.
We'll see.
Okay. On to the men. I'm going to be honest. I have barely watched any of the guys. My focus has been on the women today. So who's going to kick in and tell us all about the guys?
I can kick you in with the match that probably drew the least interest for the general viewer out there. I watched Struff versus Coric from the first point all the way to the end. And this was one of the most entertaining matches that I've ever seen. And I cannot believe and I'm not saying this just based on today's match, but I cannot believe how much improvement Struff has made in the last 7 to 8 months. I don't mean over the last few years, just in the last 7 to 8 months. And the fact that he can beat Coric on his favorite surface is a bona fide win. Nobody should diminish that win at all. And the irony is, it's not that big a surprise. I've talked to many friends of mine who felt that Struff had a good chance to beat Coric, but it's a miraculous win because it's a really strange win because for most of the match was played on Coric's terms. It was played the way Coric would like to play, and Coric did not play a bad match. His numbers were good. He served very well. He won a lot of big serves. And here's the kicker, and this is going to be in my write-up too, that I'm going to publish later. Struff served 30% first serves in the final set up to 7-all.
Wow.
And he somehow survived it. And he fell behind twice during that time. He fell behind the break twice.
Wow.
During that time, and at 30%, and then from 7-all to the end of the match, 11-9, he served above 70%. All of a sudden, his first serve came back. But first serve for Struff is a major weapon for his game plan. In other words, his success depends on his first serve, and it disappeared. It just went away. But he somehow survived it, and he even broke back twice to stay in it. But guess what he did? When he was down 2 break points at 4-all, he made a first serve. He served an ace, and he made a 1-2 punch with a great first serve. So he was clutch. He was clutch, but he pulled off a win. And I would hate to be in Coric's shoes. I don't know how he's going to sleep this evening, knowing that he played a good match, but ended up somehow coming off the court losing after 4 hours and 20 minutes.
Oh, that's a heartbreaker.
The Germans were going nuts out there. Am I right?
Yes, in fact, they started going nuts when they first walked out, and I believe they as the coin toss was being as the referee was flipping the coin, they were already singing and chanting. So that's how intense it was.
These matches are so much fun. Well, I guess we can segue into Novak Djokovic, who cruised again, and that's Struff's next opponent. So we saw Djokovic, we saw Thiem both winning today, and both winning kind of in the same way they've won all week. Djokovic easy, decisive. I think he's logged just barely over 5 hours. We don't know how much the time on court is going to matter next week, but if it does, Djokovic is in really good shape.
And Thiem, another meander?
A bit of a meander, but he's facing Pablo Cuevas, and we know how good he can be on clay, and they got into a little bit of a brawl. I think Thiem maybe regretted the set that he lost, but otherwise, from what I heard from him in press, is that he was very pleased with the way he played once again. He's got good confidence, and like a guy like him that's so strapping and in such good shape, as we talked about earlier, it may not hurt him that he's had to go 4 sets now, 3 straight rounds. So he's playing a little extra tennis. Maybe he's playing himself into the best form.
Perhaps.
Maybe this is like he'll really let the animal out of the cage in his biggest match, which is going to be coming soon because we're into week 2. Did we mention that?
We will. I mean, it sounds like that was the only thing he was happy about because what happened to poor old Teamy Poos was that he was in his press conference. We were informed that Serena Williams was going to follow Thiem. Then the next thing we heard, because Thiem was due in at 8:30, next thing we heard was Serena Williams was on her way into the interview room. So everybody gets up and Julie gallops off to the interview room, where we're seeing videos of Serena Williams sitting in the press room, and we're thinking, okay, that's fine. And then a veritable wall of German journalists, German Austrian journalists, streaming across to room number 2. So basically, team was in mid-answer, and was told, we have to cut this short and we have to move to interview to room 2. And he was a bit peeved because he wanted to go and watch the Champions League final. So say we all.
I didn't realize that was a part
so
of
that
it
was a part of it as well. And so he was
with him. Luckily, someone else may have been doubly upset. He's one of the nicest guys.
He was hoofed out. I think he actually ended his. I think then the German journalists were annoyed because I think he actually ended his press conference there because he wanted to go and watch the Champions League.
What's his team? He's a Premier League guy, right? Is he a Liverpool guy?
I don't know. Well,
it doesn't matter, Chris. This is so clear that you're American. You're asking
I know.
this question. It's
the
Champions League final.
Right, what did I say? I know, but he roots for one of these teams, right?
No, it doesn't matter. It's the Champions League final.
Matter.
But he roots for Liverpool, I thought.
No,
Are they not in it?
Well,
forget it. We should embarrass me. On somebody else's podcast.
It's like watching the blue ribbon event of the Olympics. Like
it doesn't matter.
Like the 100 meters. You don't actually care who's running. You just want to watch that final.
This is unfair. I'm just saying he also roots, I think, for Liverpool.
Why would
Dominic
he's Austrian?
Teams fans are going to be so pissed at us.
You're
going to know who he roots for because he's insane on Twitter with one of the teams he roots for.
He probably
That's
roots
your
for
question in the next press conference.
I dare you.
I've been shamed.
Anyway.
Can I just leave?
I think the word that we're looking for now, ladies and gentlemen, is anyway. So, looky head. A little looky.
Let's do it.
Right, so we are into round 4, aren't we? Yes, we are. Yes, Ros,
Yes.
you are right. So, what jumps out at me is on Chatrier. If we look at Chatrier, what the match that jumps out to me, I'm afraid, is Stevens and Muguruza. I don't think Leonardo Mayer is going to be a match for Federer. I really don't think that Londero is going to be a match for Nadal. I think maybe Konepi and Martic will be interesting. Maybe Martic will come through that. But for me, it's all about Stevens and Muguruza. What say you, gentlemen?
The poster match, I completely agree with you, Ross. The poster match there, the match of the day, Sloane Stephens versus Garbiñe Muguruza.
How do you see that going?
And I dare anybody to confidently pick one or the other in this match. This is a very unpredictable match.
I mean, I've been impressed with Muggsy all the way through, but I've also been impressed with Sloane. I'm so torn. Come on. Help us out of the mire, Christoph.
I can't. I made a pick earlier, but it wasn't official. I'll have you guys know, and I just don't know. I'm with you guys. It's going to be a great match. I think whoever can get it done, really. I mean, they both have the potential to win this one.
Okay.
I believe the more, if you want to see perhaps close matches, exciting matches in terms of the scoreboard development, I believe Suzanne Langland has the better matchups there. In fact, all 4 of those matches could end up being very close. They may not get to finish that. No, they may have to move a match at the end of the day.
Yeah, you're right. That's a nice slate. Especially, my eyes go right to Tsitsipas and Stanimal. That's a great matchup.
And of course, from a British perspective, I think we could be in for a humdinger. If both Vekic and Konta bring their A game, we could be in for the kind of match that we saw in the second round of Wimbledon, where I think it finished at 10-8, and this was hot on the heels of Konta beating. Sorry, my apologies, Vekic
one of the best
beating
matches at
Konta and it really was. So I think those 2 matches are going to be. I might actually go out and sit and watch a little bit on long length.
I will. Vekic has been impressive.
She has been good form.
So yes.
Okay, well, of course, there's they might move something onto Simon Mathieu, but I think it's just doubles.
I do have one quick dramatic question.
Ooh, dramatic.
Dramatic. Will Kei Nishikori go 5 sets again
Absolutely.
and win in the 5th? Is there any other way he can advance in these first weeks of majors?
How many 5 sets has he had?
I believe he's played so far one 5-setter here,
and all the rest.
but 1 4-setter, 1 5-setter, but it's his how do I say this? It's his addiction to play
Wrong.
long matches in the first week and end up actually losing in the second week, not because he plays well or good in that match, but because he's played long matches in the first week.
Yeah, it's frustrating too, because I love to see him at his best in some of those big matches, but a lot of times he shows up sapped. So, I mean, Benoit Paire has been a guy that's confused him in the past, right?
Yeah, and also, and Paire's been playing inspired stuff here.
Yeah, he's been real good.
Paire cares, y'all.
Yeah.
He does. Well, ladles and jelly spoons, I think that takes us to the end of tonight's wrap of action. You have been listening to
Mert Ertunga.
Ros Satar.
And Chris Otto, I got to go because I got to Google which football team Dominic Thiem is rooting for.
And speaking of care, we didn't even mention
We can't even remember his name. That's how little we care.
Fognini.
Yeah, we can't even remember his name.
Do a
That's how
separate
little
show
we
on
care.
Fognini tomorrow.
We'll do that.
It was great being with you guys, by the way. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us and sort of putting up with our general rambles.
Not at all. I admire both of you.
Okay, thank you very much. Au revoir tout le monde.
Au revoir.